Hey, it's Matt from Finally Playing. So, it's been about a week and I've been playing around with my new Nintendo 2DS XL, and so I think it's finally time that I talk about what I like and what I don't like about it. So I've included some footage on here taken from my different 3DSs that I currently own, but it's recorded with a DSLR camera, because one, if I had a capture card, it really wouldn't show the screen differences, and two, I don't have a capture card on any of them. But with that footage, basically take it with a grain of salt because I didn't do a great job of setting the focus on each one. So I'll do some comparisons of the different 3DSs that I've owned, which has pretty much been all of them, and decide whether or not the new Nintendo 2DS XL is worth the asking price. Now let's get to it. Alright, so starting off, you've seen and you'll see some of the intro footage for Pokemon Sun. So I wanted to use some games that don't support 3D, since it's going around on the internet that the new 2DS XL screen wouldn't look as good due to the non-native resolution, which would cause a slight distortion in the picture. So from what I played, I didn't notice any distortion, and I would say in general the new 2DS XL screen is comparable to the new 3DS XL screen. It's probably overall not quite as sharp as the original 2DS, but that's just because it's taking the same resolution image and scaling it up a bit. Uh, so I'm not going to knock any points off of it for that, but because basically it's the same situation with the new 3DS XL. But just something to be aware of. The larger screen basically is larger screen with the same resolution image, so it's not going to be quite as crisp as the original 2DS or the original 3DS XL, or the original 3DS, not the XL versions. Alright, so next up is battery life. So when I was playing, it didn't really feel like it was better or worse than the other handhelds that I use day to day, which includes my new 3DS XL and my Vita 2000. So I guess we'll call it a tie there. Nothing gained, nothing lost. Something else, so like, let's go on to like how portable it feels. So the clamshell design is just great for carrying it around. I've been a fan of the clamshells since the original SP, Game Boy Advance. So I'd say of all my current handhelds, it's actually probably the easiest to carry around, just due to the fact that the screens aren't exposed on like the Vita, and it's just not quite as bulky as the new 3DS XL. So I will give it a point up for that. Alright, so the big question that most of you are probably wondering is, how does it basically feel while you're playing it? So for games that don't have like a heavy reliance on all the face keys, the shoulder buttons, and the joysticks, it feels good. Like, it feels really good. However, when I was playing like Monster Hunter Generations, I basically did feel the hand cramp setting in, and I found myself missing the grip that I have my new 3DS XL sitting in. So I did go back to using my new 3DS XL just for that reason alone, just because I already have a grip installed. If I had a grip on this one, I'm pretty sure this would be just as comfortable as my new 3DS XL. Uh, so the shoulder buttons, I would say, don't feel quite. They feel a bit more mushy than my 3DS XL. Not a lot, but I do notice it just a little bit. Um, Not a huge deal because they seem to basically function correctly, but I prefer a little bit more clickiness with them. So that's just something to kind of be aware of. The D-pad, it feels excellent. Has that classic Nintendo style feel. It's not terrible like the Xbox, or just completely missing like the Switch. Face buttons have that basically that perfect right feel as well. Good amount of resistance all around. They feel clicky. I don't think I ever basically missed a button press. At least one that wasn't my fault, just because of my slow reactions. Alright, I'm not a huge fan of their joystick and C-stick, but, they're usable. I would have rather had a real second joystick rather than that C-stick, but I guess we'll take what we can get. A C-stick's better than nothing. Alright, and so as a whole, it feels mostly good. The areas it's lacking in are basically the same areas that the other 3DSs are lacking in. So I guess I'll call this one kind of a tie between all the 3DSs. So just another random note, and I'm not sure if this is just because it's new and it like maybe hasn't cached everything yet, but the UI felt a little bit sluggish, at least compared to my new 3DS XL and my 2DS. So like I just experienced just a little bit of lag whenever I'd go to like the home screen in game, and like I'd try to change something like brightness. But I'd also get it when I didn't have a game open or an app open, and I was just navigating around the home screen like between the settings and like the eShop and everything. So I mean I'll keep playing around with it and see if it gets any better. If not, I might post a note here in a few weeks on this to basically say it hasn't improved. It was actually noticeable enough that I found myself looking up to make sure that the that this model, the new 2DS XL, had the same improved specs that were found in the new 3DS models, and because it does. So, maybe, I mean, if any of you guys out there have the new 2DS XL, let me know if you've experienced any latency in the UI, because yeah, I just found it very odd, and it felt, yeah, it definitely felt noticeably laggier than my other models. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Okay, and so I know some people were saying, so like, what about that stylus? Well, it is shorter, but I usually grip my pens and pencils pretty close to the surface, to my writing surface anyway, so it wasn't a huge deal for me. The only time I really ever use the stylus is when the game forces me to use it, like when I have to type in a name or something. So, yeah, not a huge deal for me. If you do have issues with its length, I mean, styluses are super cheap. Basically, you can get like a 10 pack for like $6, so I'm really not going to knock any points off of that just because, to me, it's a non-gameplay issue. And it's a nuisance, I guess, for some people, but yeah, definitely not enough for me to actually knock points off of the how I feel about it. Alright, for now the big question. So is it worth the money? It's $150 or so. Well, yes and no. So if you don't have a new model of the 3DS, I would recommend this one. It's cheaper, slightly smaller. Doesn't have 3D, but it does have the improved specs of the other new line. If you've already got a new 3DS or a new 3DS XL, I'd say you can skip this one. It doesn't add enough to make it a must swap. It basically feels similar to those two, but it just kind of nixes the 3D. And I'd say most games aren't worth the extra money to play in 3D. Collectors, I don't think it'll matter too much what I say because you're going to buy one anyway. Probably both, actually. I still didn't find out if the white and orange model came to the US or not. But I don't think that they're going to be super limited like the limited new 3DS models were, or like the game-specific ones like the Zelda games. So, I mean, I guess you could probably wait for a price drop, or if you need to guarantee you have one, I guess you could just search for them and find one soon. I don't think the 3DS has a ton of life left in it. I mean, I still think they'll be around for another 3 years, but I think they're slowly going to start dwindling away with how much support that they get. So, usually toward the end of their life, they do start getting less and less production, especially with Nintendo ramping up on the Switch. So, to put it simply, if you don't have a new 3DS or you don't have a 3DS at all, I'd say go for this one, just because it's lower price and basically you can play all the games, including the one or two. I think there's just one right now that's exclusive to the new line. And if you already do own a new 3DS or a new 3DS XL, yeah, you can just skip this one. And since I have a few seconds here extra, let me go and rant on a few things about Nintendo. One, please make enough SNES classics so that the scalpers don't win. 2, fix your eShop so I can download to multiple devices. 3, bump up the production of your amiibos that are hard to find. And 4, for the love of God, don't freaking lock game content behind amiibos. So like your new upcoming Metroid 2 remake, locking the hard mode behind an amiibo is a freaking terrible, terrible idea. Alright, And that's all I have. Till next time, this is Matt with Finally Playing. Have a good one, everyone.